Hello students, this is Dr. Hemendra Sharma from Babu Banarsi Das University, Lucknow. Today I am going to tell you something on entrepreneurship and small business management. Today the topic which we are going to covering will be planning. What is the role of planning in the entrepreneurship and small business management? To make you fresh from your previous classes, you must have studied this topic planning in your organizational behavior and marketing and some other subjects. To begin anything in your career, in your life, in your day-to-day study, you need a planning. So to begin a new enterprise, or to begin a new organization to be implemented, all require a prior homework to be done. Those all prior homework come under a topic called planning. Planning plays a very important role when you are deriving any new strategy, when you are about to start a new concept or a new technology. So what is the planning? Planning is a process to determine a future course of action and answers several questions relating why to take that action, how to take it, and when to take that action. It is generally thought of as executive action that uses the skills of anticipating, influencing, and controlling the nature and direction of change. So as you can see, if you're doing a planning, if you are implementing any strategy as to what are the reasons as to why you are implementing such a step, why you are adopting such a step, and all these steps needs to be taken care when you are implementing planning. What will be the future outcomes of that step of yours? In terms of entrepreneurship, before you begin your organization, before you launch your particular service or a product into the industry, you need to do some prior homework. You need to do some prior work before launching your service or a product into the market. So planning plays a very pivotal and very important role when you are launching a new service or a product. What is the meaning of project planning? Project planning is a procedural step in project management where required documentation is created to ensure successful project completion. Documentation includes all actions required to define, prepare, integrate, and coordinate additional plans. The project plan clearly defines how the project is executed, monitored, controlled, and closed. Project planning requires an in-depth analysis and structuring of the following activities: setting project goals, identifying project deliverables, creating project schedules, creating supporting plans. So as you can see, what is the need of a project planning? The need for project planning is basically to define, prepare, integrate, and coordinate all your additional activities, all your additional plans, all the purpose as to why you are doing such and such activity, as to identify what will be the future benefits of that, how it will be executed, monitor, controlled, and will be finally closed. So all the steps from the beginning to the final closure needs to be well coordinated. What will be and how will be the coordination among the different departments to implement successfully this particular idea of yours. So these four steps, like setting project goals, identifying project deliverables, creating project schedules, creating supporting plans, all needs to be well worked, well in advance, well coordinated among each and every step. It has not to be haphazard, so that any future lacuna or any step misjudged or confused will create risk or will not solve the purpose of setting up your planning. The project planning stage requires several inputs, including conceptual proposals, project schedules, resource requirements, limitations, and success metrics. Project planning begins by setting the scope of a project and eventually working through each level of dependent action, task, checkpoints, and deadlines. As you can see, after each and every step of your planning, you have to cross check that particular step, how the things are working. Are they being delivered what you were expecting? Are they below or above your expectations? Are they all well organized the way you were expecting? So all these things needs to be well properly monitored at each and every step with the sole purpose of the outcome. Skills for project planning and monitoring. The effective project management needs the right project management skills for successful completion of projects. Let's explore the main project management skills in brief. Leadership. Leadership is utmost important. Being a leader of the organization, being the leader of that particular setting up of your idea, you have to be visionary. You have to be open for all suggestions and criticism. It has nothing to do with if somebody is criticizing your idea or say somebody criticizing your approach for solving a certain problem. You have to be open-minded and you have to accept all the things when open-minded. So leadership is an essential skill to be a good project manager. There has to be someone with the right vision who can take the entire team in the right direction. At the end of the day, leaders are meant to lead and manage teams with guiding, motivating, and inspiring other team members. So your role is not only to dictate the things, but your role is also of a motivator, as a guide, and as an inspiring boss. So as people should follow your footsteps, your zeal, your hard work, your open-mindedness, your problem-solving mindset. Next point is communication. Oftentimes, miscommunication results in delayed deadlines and failed projects. Thus, effective communication plays an important part in project management. As a project manager, make sure every team member, stakeholder is well aware of their task and progress happening on the project front. Remember that over communication is better than under communication. If you have instructed something to your team, you also have to cross verify whether what you want to make them understood has been clearly being taken by them, or they are still in dice, or they are still in ambiguity, because ambiguity can dilute the sole purpose of your communication. So rather to dilute the sole purpose of your communication, be over communicated, be ensure to cross check as to what you were supposed to deliver the same way they have grasped the thing, or still there is any communication gap. So to avoid that, always have a proper cross check as and when required, so as to what you want to make them understood has been properly being grasped by them. Planning, as we have discussed in the previous slide, and the things planning again is very important, so that all the tasks, all the required activities are well being properly fragmented in the way you was looking forward to. The planning not only reduces the amount of risk, but also provide you a quality time for future vision and goal of your organization. As a project manager, it is essential to plan and organize tasks in the right order, most importantly to the right people. You have to identify as to who has got the potential to solve this particular task. It cannot be the common person, each and every type, every common person to solve each and every task of yours. You have to have the SWOT analysis of each and every team member working in your organization. And also develop the people surrounding you who should be able to take risk, quality risk, nevertheless, whatever the outcome is, but they should have the proper ability. As a project manager, it is essential to plan and organize tasks in the right order, most importantly to the right people. Good planning skills can take your project management to another level. He should be someone who foresees the potential risk and has also prepared a strategy to deal with them. Time management. Time management means making sure you put aside enough time for every project task. Effective project managers times slot important tasks to create a healthy sense of urgency and prioritize stuff. They understand the difference between important and urgent tasks, as Eisenhower pointed out. What is important is seldom urgent and what is urgent is seldom important. Time management is not only required from the beginning, but it requires each and every day for each and every activity of yours. To cut short that, proper planning has to be made so as to you can identify and prioritize which tasks are of utmost important. If you ignore them, if you avoid them, if you do not prioritize your activities, the whole purpose of your working or whole purpose of setting up your organization will be of go in vain. Steps to create a proper project plan. Explain the project plan to stakeholders and discuss its key components. One of the most important misunderstood terms in project management, the project plan, is a set of living documents that can be expected to change over the life of the project. Like a roadmap, it provides the direction for the project. And like the traveler, the project manager needs to set the course for the project, which in project management terms means creating the project plan. Just as a driver may encounter road construction or new routes to the final destination, the project manager may need to correct the project course as well. A common misconception is that plan equates to the project timeline, which is only one of the many components of the plan. The project plan is the major work product from the entire planning process, so it contains all the planning documents for the project. So it has to be understood, project plan and its importance. So you have to design the whole path as to how these things will be working and in what order they will be working, rather facing any hiccups during the work in progress. Design in such a way that it delivers what you were expecting and complete on time or rather before time. Step 2, define roles and responsibility, putting up the right person at the right place at the right time. Not all key stakeholders will review all documents, so it is necessary to determine who on the project needs to approve which parts of the plan. Who will do what? How will do? Some of the key players are project sponsor, who owns and funds the entire project. And sponsors need to review and approve all aspects of the plan. Designated business experts, who will define the requirements for the end product. They need to help develop the scope baseline and improve the documents relating to scope. They will quite be interested in the timeline as well. Project manager, who creates, executes, and controls the project plan. Since project managers build the plan, they do not need to approve it. Project team, who build the end product. The team needs to participate in the development of many aspects of the plan, such as identifying risk, quality, and design issues, but the team does not usually approve it. And users, who use the end product, they too need to participate in the development of the plan and review the plan, but rarely do they actually need to sign off. Others such as auditors, quality and risk analysts, procurement specialists, and so on may also participate on the project. They may need to approve the part that pertain to them, such as the quality or procurement plan. So you have to identify who will do what and how will all activities will be approved and in what order. Rather discussing each and every peculiar things by yourself and taking each and every action on yourself, designate the people who is playing and what the role they are playing in the system or in the organization. This not only curtails your limit to each and every task, but also gives you the ample time to develop and to take your organization to a certain level. So all these persons working within your organization has to be designated their roles and responsibility in a very crystal clear way. And they will be held accountable for the task they have been designated for. Hold a kickoff meeting. The kickoff meeting is an effective way to bring stakeholders together to discuss the project. It is an effective way to initiate the planning process. It can be used to start building trust among the team members and ensure that everyone's ideas are taken into account. Kickoff meetings also demonstrate commitment from the sponsor for the project. Here are some of the topics that might be included in a kickoff meeting: business vision and strategy from the sponsor, project vision from the sponsor, roles and responsibilities, team building, team commitments, how team makes decisions, ground rules, how large the group should be and whether subgroups are necessary. These kickoff meetings not only play a very pivotal role, but also helps you to make understand and gives a clear picture about where your project plan is actually moving forward. Whether the desired objectives for the sole purpose you have established your organization is working the way you desired for. Not only you give the vision, you also guide them, you also nurture them, you also mentor them. That only not bridges the gap of communication and relationship between the peer and the supervisor, but also develops a warmth and confidence of belongingness in the organization, which helps the employees to treat this organization where they are working as their own, which envisages a path for success for not only themselves but for the organization. Team building, team commitments, how to take the decision, all this you have to inculcate them. And if anyone you found in your organization who is having better qualification, better experience, you should ask them to share their experience, share their commitment, share their decision living experiences, which will path which will weigh the path for success for others working in the organization. Next point, develop a scope statement. The scope statement is arguably the most important document in the project plan. It's the foundation for the rest of the project. It describes the project and is used to get common agreement among the stakeholders about the scope. The scope statement clearly describes what the outcome of the project will be. It is the basis for getting the buy-in and agreement from the sponsor and other stakeholders and decreases the chances of miscommunication. This document will most likely grow and change with the life of the project. The scope statement should include business need and business problem. Project objectives stating what will occur within the project to solve the business problem. Benefits of completing the project as well as the project justification. Project scope stated as which deliverables will be included and excluded from the project. Key milestones, the approach and other components as dictated by the size and nature of the project. All these things has to be included in the scope statement. Deliver scope baseline. Once the deliverables are confirmed in the scope statement, they need to be developed into a work breakdown structure, which is a decomposition of all the deliverables in the project. This deliverables work breakdown structure forms the scope baseline and has these elements. Identifies all the deliverables produced on the project and therefore identifies all the work to be done. Takes large deliverables and breaks them into a hierarchy of smaller deliverables. That is, each deliverable starts at a high level and is broken into subsequently lower and lower levels of detail. So you break the task, you break the objectives, because organizations at the top level develops the vision for the year, but that vision to be accomplished in the one financial year is further breakdown into the zones: north, south, east, west, and central. And each role and each zone has its pivotal role in accomplishing that yearly task. If you talk about the for example, I take it, air conditions. There will be a huge sales in the places where there is a continuous rainfall or there is a very moderate temperature. Talking about Bangalore or the adjacent area near to that. So the organizations dealing in the air conditioned business will be solely responsible of targeting the places where there is more of humid, where there are more of, hot climatic conditions. So their maximum target will be accomplished from those locations, but they will be looking for not the individual targets, but for the business targets to be accomplished by selling their air conditioned ideas to those organizations, for the centralized air conditions to the organizations who are working in the southern part of the country. By this, the southern part is also contributing in the goal vision. Next is the lowest level is called a work package. and can be numbered to correspond to activities and tasks. Next point is develop the schedule and cost baselines. Here are the steps involved in developing the schedules and cost baselines. Identifying activities and tasks need to produce each of the work packages, creating a work breakdown structure of tasks. Identify resources for each task. If known, estimating how long will it take to complete each task. Estimate cost of each task using an average hourly rate for each resource. Consider resource constraints or how much time each resource can realistically devote it to this project. Determine which tasks are dependent on other tasks and develop critical path. Develop schedule, which is a calendarization of all the tasks and estimates. It shows by choosing time period, week, month, quarter, or year, which resource is doing which task, how much time they're expected to spend on each task, and when each task is scheduled to begin and end. Develop the cost baseline, which is a time-fixed budget or cost by time period. So developing the schedule and cost baseline, you have to potentially develop as to what resources will be required to certainly accomplish the task on time, and how much an individual has to incur its man hour to finally accomplish that task. All these needs to be accomplished, has to be scheduled in a way so that you incur a minimum cost and you generate a maximum output. And that can only be done when the proper planning has been made. Each and every major task has been broken down into smaller subparts so that each and every individual role is being clearly crystal clear to all of them working in the organization. Next, create baseline management plans. Once the scope, schedule, and cost baselines have been established, you can create the steps the team will take to manage variances to these plans. All these management plans usually include a review and approval process for modifying the baselines. Different approval levels are usually needed for different types of changes. In addition, not all new requests will result in changes to the scope, schedule, or budget, but a process is needed to study all new requests to determine their impact to the project. If any further certain requirements are being made, what additional cost has to be incurred, and whether it will delay or fasten your required time for completion of the project. Developing the staffing plan. The staffing plan is a chart that shows the time period, usually month, quarter, year, that each resource will come onto and leave the project. It is similar to other project management charts like a Gantt chart, but does not show task estimates, begin and end dates, or the critical path. It shows only the time period and resource and the length of time that resource is expected to remain on the project. Next is analyze project quality and risk. Project quality consists of ensuring that the end product not only meets the customer specifications, but is one that the sponsor and key business experts actually wants to use. The emphasis on project quality is on preventing errors rather than inspecting the product at the end of the project and then eliminating errors. Project quality also recognizes that quality is a management responsibility and needs to be performed thoroughly throughout the project. Creating the quality plan involves setting the standard acceptance criteria and metrics that will be used throughout the project. The plan then becomes the foundation for all the quality reviews and inspections performed during the project and is used throughout project execution. So what is a project quality? The project or a service which you are about to deliver to the people or to the end users, it needs to be timely checked, monitored. And if you are not doing so the same thing timely and again, the lethargic attitude of the people working in your organization will incur huge risk to your organization. Quality is of utmost important, and you have to identify the right people to place there so that cautiously the things can be monitored, the metrics can be developed. And it is not only for a certain stage, it is throughout the entire project development, throughout the entire execution of your plan of your organization. From the day one till the working of this will till the existence of this organization, all these things has to be monitored regularly. Next is project risk. A risk is an event that may or may not happen but could have a significant effect on the outcome of a project if it were to occur. For example, there may be a 50% chance of a significant change in sponsorship in the next few months. Analyzing risk include making a determination of both the probability that a specific event may occur and if it does, assessing its impact. The quantification of both the probability and impact will lead to determining which the highest risks that need attention are. Risk management include not just assessing the risk, but developing risk management plans to understand and communicate how the team will respond to the high risk events. So for example, if you take about the export houses or people who are into manufacturing of clothing industry or into the, plastic manufacturing, it's a necessity and an obligation for every organization. Whenever you are establishing an organization, you have to have a fire approval that your building, your organization is safe from fire and things like that. How many actually does? Maybe 100% does once they are starting the organization. But how many of them ensure the regular renewal of that particular part of against the fire? And when, if by default that happens in the organization, that happens at their workplace, then they understand the importance of that particular certificate against the fire, which they have to take from the authorities, and whether they have placed the right equipment and they are actually regularly monitoring those things. This will not happen. This will be once in a lifetime. But why to take chances with the human lives? Why to take chances with the business you have developed? So thoroughly that has to be understood. Communicate. One important aspect of the project plan is the communication plan. This document states such things as who on the project wants which reports, how often, in what format, and using what media, how issues will be escalated, and when, where project information will be stored and who can access it. For complex projects, a formal communication matrix is a tool that can help determine some of the above criteria. It helps document the project team's agreed on method for communicating various aspects of the project, such as routine status, problem resolution, decisions, etc. Once the project plan is complete, it is important not just to communicate the importance of the project plan to the sponsor, but also to communicate its contents once it's created. This communication should include such things as review and approval of the project plan, process for changing the contents of the plan, next steps, executing and controlling the project plan, and the key stakeholder role responsibilities in the upcoming phases. So communication from the top down to the bottom most as to how the things has to be done, how the things has to be get proceeded further. All needs to be done in such a way that it acquires the required time. And whatever the required time is done, it has to be accomplished in certain way and at what grounds. All has to be communicated well and well in advance and in a proper specialized way. Next point is analysis of financial feasibility. In case of a new project, financial viability can be judged on the following parameters: total estimated cost on the project, financing of the project in terms of its capital structure, debt to equity ratio and promoter share of total cost, existing investment by the promoter in any other business, project cash flow and profitability. Whenever you are developing a project, you have to understand what the financial viability of your project is. How will you arrange the funds? How will you run the organization? What additional or contingency funds are being required while you are launching your business idea? And how will you arrange that cash flow? That all needs to be monitored and well planned in advance. The financial viability of a project should provide the following information: full details of the assets to be financed and how liquid those assets are, rate of conversion to cash liquidity, how easily can the various assets be converted to cash, project's funding potential and repayment terms, sensitivity in the repayments capability to the following factors: time delays, mild slowing of sales, acute reduction slowing of sales, small increase in cost, large increase in cost, adverse economic conditions. All these things need to be understood if certain conditions anyhow comes in while you are running an organization, while you are setting up a project, while you are setting up your service industry, while you are setting up your own small business. For example, in 1983, the first generation for the computer model for feasibility analysis and reporting, a computation tool for financial analysis of investment, was released. Since then, this UNIDO software has been developed further to also support the economic appraisal of projects. The computer model for feasibility analysis and reporting, COMFAR3 expert, is intended as an aid in the analysis of investment projects. The main module of the program accepts financial and economic data, produces financial and economic statements and geographical displays, and calculates measures of performance. Supplementary modules assist in the analytical process. Cost benefit and value added methods of economic analysis developed by UNIDO are included in the program, and the methods of major international development institutions are accommodated. The program is applicable for the analysis of investment in new projects and expansion or rehabilitation of existing enterprises. As example, in the case of reprivatization projects for joint ventures, the financial perspective of each partner or class of shareholder can be developed. Analysis can be performed under a variety of assumptions concerning inflation, currency revaluation, and price escalations. Management evaluation, the first point, memorandum and article of association. Object authorized and paid up share capital, promoters contribution, borrowing powers, list of directors on the board, terms of appointment of directors, all has to be included in the memorandum and articles of association. Your company as a promoter, what points need to be inculcated? Corporate plan of the company, projects promoted, implemented, under implementation, bankers report on dealings and repayment of past loan assistance, details of group companies, operations, balance sheet, and profit and loss account of the promoter company. New promoters, educational background, any industrial experience, family background, sources of income, details of personal properties, bankers reference, income tax, wealth tax returns, management and organizational setup, broad composition of the board, details of full-time directors and their responsibilities, details of chief executive and functional executives, including qualification, experience, organization setup for existing company, and during project implementation for new company. What will be the technical feasibility of the purpose of setting of your enterprise? Technology and manufacturing process, proven new technology, basis of selection of technology, competing technologies, performance data of plants based on the technology, details of licensor of technology, process flowchart, and description. Location of the project, where to locate the project, where to establish your manufacturing entity, how far it is from the raw material location, how far will be, what locational advantages it is providing you, what will be the availability of the labor, infrastructure facilities, all plant and machinery, list of machinery and equipment which you require for running up your organization, raw material, utilities, and manpower, details of raw materials and suppliers, electricity and water supply, basis of manpower estimates, details of manpower, managerial, supervisory, skilled, unskilled training needs, all has to be inculcated. Contracts, agreements with contractors, dealing on know-how, engineering, procurement, construction, financial soundness, and experience of contractors. Project monitoring and implementation, mode of implementation, details of monitoring team, detailed schedule of implementation, economic and commercial viability. Your company will have to take real value of input as against the value accounted in financial analysis for the purpose of economic evaluation of the project. Your company should carry out social cost benefit analysis as a measure of the cost and benefit of the project to society and the economy. Economic analysis is therefore aimed at inherent strength of the project to withstand international competition on its own. Existing and potential market demand and supply for the proposed production in respect of volume and pattern. Share of the proposed product of the company in the total market through marketing strategy. Selling price of the product and export potential, if any. Buyback arrangements, if any. I hope all these viability related to the beginning of a new enterprise in a small business management or setting up of your own project needs all these points to be considered. If any doubt, we can still have a round of discussion. Thank you, students.